Welcome back to the Pro Football Pod. We are bringing you the Week 13 waiver wire. We ended the Week 12 recap by letting you guys know that the Muth, he did get Luth, and he was going to be a great pickup this week on the waiver wire. He's got Arizona,
I
potentially
never know if
difficult
you're
mustache.
making fun of like Mike Tyson when you say that,
Whatever,
or
the
if you're
Luth.
just the moose is loose. The moose is loose.
Yeah, guys, the moose is loose. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that completely. But yeah,
But he did get loose,
yes,
No,
he
yeah,
did.
it was nice to see Kenny throwing the ball over the middle of the field for once.
and he's only owned right now, I believe, in still like 30% of leagues. So he's out there in a good handful of leagues, and in the tight end drought of what we've been seeing here lately, snatch him.
Absolutely. People didn't expect it after the one catch, whatever game, but then Matt Canada got the boot and, things got better. The Saints came off of a bye, and Derek Carr looked like he was ready to play quarterback again. He wasn't like making the fans call for Taysom Hill or anything.
Serviceable.
304 yards. That's pretty good.
That 304 yards is great. Now that's easily been his best game of the season yardage wise, but he's consistently giving you right around that like 200-yard mark. So for me, like he's kind of showing me everything I really want to see right now. As far as if I need to plug him in and play him, I'm not exactly like throwing my head in the dirt like I'm having to play Tim Boyle.
Now, he's only rostered in 44%, and he's got Detroit in the Superdome this weekend. So I think that that's going to be big for them. They play a lot better at home. Detroit doesn't play as well at home. Their defenses looked really bad against quarterbacks so far this year. So I think we see a lot of opportunity this week for Derek Carr. Just for that alone, I think he's worth picking up.
He's a solid plug and play, but it's just like, when is he gonna hit a? He should hit a 40 burger. With the talent he has on his team with Kamara and Olave and Hill. Like, I mean, they're throwing the ball to Hill now. So
yeah, one of
seriously,
my I did not
insane to
bet
me.
it, but one of the more interesting bets I saw on FanDuel this weekend is a special was Taysom Hill to record
Oh
one
yes,
receiving yard, one passing yard, and one rushing yard. And it
Yep.
was at like minus 125.
yeah. It was odds that scared me. I was like, this should be
Now,
350.
I
Like, why
honestly
is
I have to
this
go back and
almost
look
even money?
because I don't know.
Pretty sure he hit it.
I should have actually already looked at this just to see if that did hit, because that's just an insane type of bet. Let's see.
I'm just not sure if he threw for one.
He had 26 rushing yards, 55 receiving yards. Did not attempt to pass.
Oh,
That would have
That's
been
what I thought.
frustrating.
Yeah.
so tough.
How? Whenever he's a quarterback, how is he not just?
He's
throwing
not. He's a
one
tight
ball?
end.
He's a tight end.
He's not a quarterback. He's a
But
quarter. He's a tight end that throws the ball.
I watch the Saints. I watch football. They put him at the quarterback position.
I get that. That's
The
more
guy
of
that
a
gets the ball
wildcat.
snapped to him.
That's
so
more
that
of a
brings me up
wildcat.
on a point. Wildcat. Why are they not doing that more whenever players need to do a push with the running backs? The running backs. Why are they not learning how to get under center and take a snap like he's hurt, but Nick Chubb? Why is that man not getting the snap under center and going up for the
Because
running back
I mean,
sneak?
yeah, for a tush push
It's a skill.
situation, it does. Yeah.
It's
but
a skill that quarterbacks can only
Taking
do.
the
taking
snapping
the
the
snap.
ball.
You've played
And that's what I'm
quarterback.
saying.
You know that's
No,
a
I know,
skill.
and that's what I'm saying. Practice that. Practice makes perfect.
Well,
Practice it.
no, yeah, I see what you're
Running
saying, and that's
backs.
why, like,
Let's go.
the Dolphins a couple years ago, when they would run their quarterback sneaks, they would run it with Durham Smythe.
Durham Smythe, tight end.
Like,
What?
so
All
I
right,
do see
well,
what you're saying.
that's
And,
Because
well,
Tua
that's like
was
the,
getting hurt.
He's a
or
big
the
dude.
Chiefs. The Chiefs
like
will do
putting
it
Josh
with
Allen
Noah
back there.
Gray or Kelsey all the time. So I do see
Yeah.
what you're saying there, but
It also
no,
makes the running back position more valuable. You looking for value at your position, you either need to be able to catch the ball or take snaps. Come on now. Get with the program.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Now, this next guy, Jordan Love, we've been kind of talking about him off and on of, he's playing solid. But if you go back and look at his last few weeks, he's actually starting to pop off here. And I think Thanksgiving was more of his coming out party of, he's not about to jump into, how everybody started talking about Justin Herbert type of status. But he is starting to, as far as Packers Twitter goes, they're starting to back up off the ledge now as like, hey, we might be okay quarterback wise here again.
They definitely are.
I'm not
Okay.
going to say he's another
this is
Hall
his
of Famer
first year
because just
starting.
fuck them if that happens.
Dude,
if they
if that
get
happens,
another Hall of Famer,
dude, 3 in a
have
row.
you seen
But
the
he's
stats
balling.
between him and Aaron Rodgers right now?
It's nuts.
Of
Yeah.
his first year starting compared
His
to Aaron
first
Rodgers,
12 games,
identical.
It's nuts, bro. It honestly, it terrifies me. It should scare the league,
Yes.
but I'm not willing to go there just yet. But hey, he's been
Yeah.
balling, and he's still
Sample
available
size.
in over 60% of leagues right now.
The thing I like about him from a fantasy perspective is if you look at his he rushes at least 2 or 3 times in every game. Every game. He's got at least some rushing for positive yards, except for against the Chargers last week. But this past week, he put up 268 on 3 touchdowns with 3 rushes for another 39. 32 attempts, 22 completions isn't ideal. You'd like to see your guy get more, but that's why he's available in 48% of leagues right now, which he should not be. He should at least be rostered. He's definitely fantasy viable. He's got 19 passing touchdowns. He's got 5 in the last 3 weeks, but he's got 19. And they're trying to they could make the playoffs potentially. They're not totally out of it. So, no Aaron Jones.
They're starting to trust him more.
Yeah. And LaFleur's got a good system. We know that he's got a good offense. He came from the Shanahan system. So we're just waiting for him to succeed. Now he's got a great test this week, Kansas City. I don't know if we're picking him up if we have a player that's startable in a better matchup if we're not going to start them against Kansas City.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I am forced to because I have Josh Allen and he's on bye. And I have Jordan Love. So a lot of people are going to have to make that move.
You're going to have to wait and see.
Yep, I mean, against Kansas City, O'Connell was dicing them up last week, so I feel confident that Love can get it done.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, he's to the point now to where if you don't have one of those top guys, he's fine. Like you play him, you don't really stress out about it too much. And now Josh Palmer, set to come back from injury. We've seen this Chargers offense struggle outside of Keenan Allen. He's getting targeted 13 times a game because they really just have nobody else that stepped up. Only owned in 27% of leagues right now because of everybody that just dropped him, not really worthy of that IR spot. He's a guy you want to look to pick up as well, just because, like I said, he's got to get the ball to somebody else. Like Herbert can't just throw it to Keenan or dump it off to Eckler every single time.
Since Mike Williams got injured, he gets targeted at least an average of 6 times a game. He gets 7, 8, 7, 7. He had one game of 4, and I think that was the game that he got hurt because it was against Chicago. And then since then he hasn't played. Now he's coming back against New England. New England's 11th worst against the pass so far for receivers. I think Josh Palmer is going to fill the Guyton and the Quentin Johnson, all these drops that have been happening. That's not who Josh Palmer is. He'll at least be able to give you wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 value, I think.
Yeah. And same with Gerald Everett being on waiver wire. Like, snag that dude. Herbert's just saucing the ball around too much not to pick him up. And seriously, you see what he does whenever he gets the ball. Like, he's physical.
Parham gets some of those touchdowns, which sucks, but I mean,
Parham always goes away once Everett starts, though. It's intriguing, but because you see it once Parham is in the huddle, this dude stands above everyone.
So that's
toss the ball up to him.
It's a really good point. If Michael Wilson for Arizona is hurt, then I think Greg Dortch becomes a pretty easy play. He gets enough targets to be valuable.
Loves Dortch. Like if you go back to last season with Kyler, Greg Dortch he's become really a fantasy darling. because he just really becomes that guy you can throw into your flex spot. And it's very boom or bust, but when he booms, it's booming.
Yeah. 8 and 9 targets over the last 2 weeks. 76 yards last week with a touchdown this week. I mean, he gets Pittsburgh this week, then they get a bye, and then they get San Fran. San Fran is a scary defense, but they're 7th worst against wide receivers so far this year. Pittsburgh's 9th. So this Pittsburgh game, we're talking about how easy it's going to be. I think that Kyler might end up being able to make this a game. I think that their defense is horrible, so it should be a high-scoring game, hopefully, which we haven't seen from Pittsburgh all year long. They just haven't been able to make any type of scores. Curtis Samuel gets to play the Dolphins.
You beat me to it. Curtis Samuel. He's only, I think I looked, he's owned in 10% of leagues. Which is just at that can't be right. Like, I feel like it's got to be more of like being owned in at least 20% of leagues or so. Like that number I saw, it can't be correct.
So he's rostered
with his injury and stuff. That does make sense, and one game back or so, you don't expect him to pop off like he did. But if you didn't pick him up, you gotta.
Dude, Dallas, against Dallas, for him to get 12 targets, 9 for 100, like, nobody thinks that that's going to happen. And yeah, they lost 10-45, but that just meant that there was a lot of garbage time for him to get targeted a bunch and get a bunch of down the field plays. Like, he's going to get Miami this week. It's a 1 o'clock game in Miami. It's going to be beautiful outside. I think that Miami's going to be the more superior team, but I think that at the same time, Sam Howell has been able to do it against relatively okay defenses. I think that Curtis Samuel could end up being a good start this week.
Actually,
they get a bye after that.
It's in Washington.
Oh, that's my
it's
bad.
In DC.
Yeah, I'm looking
so
at Curtis Samuel's
they're playing at home, so they don't have to worry about the sideline thing being down in Miami. I doubt they wear the black jerseys because right now they feel like the black jerseys are kind of cursed.
I've been hearing that.
I hope they wear white so it forces the Dolphins to wear aqua because we haven't seen them wear aqua all season long. But I do like Curtis Samuel in that game as well, just because you figure a lot of the focus is going to be on Terry McLaurin. So because of that, it should open up things for Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson. So Curtis Samuel, you pick him up, and I think he's a solid flex play this week as well.
I mean, rostered in 28% of Yahoo leagues, he should be available in your league right now. There's very few that have actually picked him up.
Why have the Dolphins not worn teal yet?
Because when they're
on
the road,
just wear white.
When we're at home, we always wear white because then we force the other team to wear a darker color in the Miami sun.
What do you wear on the road?
Get fucked. We wear whatever we can.
If the home team elects to wear their home whites
all year,
or if the home team elects to wear like their normal, like if the Dolphins played the Cowboys always wear white at home. So because of that, the Dolphins would probably wear their teal aqua jerseys. But it's like the Cowboys do it. Like the Cowboys wear white 90% of their games.
Eagles wore Kelly green. Buffalo, wears their blue in their stadium.
Like, you guys have yet to wear the aqua?
Yeah.
That is wild that we haven't wore it one time this season. But moving on, Ezekiel Elliott. You think he's worth? You've got me talking worth Wathering. Is he worth rostering?
Well, he's available in 60% of leagues right now.
Be a part of.
And he also is going to get to play against the Chargers this week. And the Chargers are bad.
They stepped up.
They can't play football.
They stepped up against the run
game. They're really bad.
Don't say that. They stepped up against the run game against the Ravens.
They're really
Ravens
bad.
are one of the best running offenses in the league.
Valid. That is valid. Outside of Keaton Mitchell, Gus Bus didn't do anything, which I need to have a talk with Harbaugh about the atrocities he put on Gus Bus, but that's neither here nor there.
Didn't he have touchdowns every week this year? Like, he had a
for
touchdown?
At least the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, so like, how are you not just feeding that man? They weren't really in the 10 or the 20. Like they didn't get into the red zone very much.
But I mean, with Zeke, you look at this last game. Ramondre had 21 carries for 98 yards. Zeke had only 9 carries, but still put up 46 yards on the ground for you, as well with 2 receptions.
And the week before the bye, he had 13 for 54. They haven't been giving him the ball a ton so far this year, but this is a team that is historically bad against the run. They don't have a running quarterback, but they also don't have a quarterback that can throw down the field very well. So I think that they're going to have to rely on their two-headed monster, which they've been doing a little bit so far this year. Zeke hasn't been getting the touchdowns, but he's been getting the touchdown looks a lot. So I think he's worth picking up in if you really need a running back at this point and you're looking on the waiver wire, you're not really going to find a lot of value. But based off of matchups, I think this week Zeke could be someone worth playing. So that's why I put him on my list.
Talent's there.
Huh?
So I don't hate it. The talent is there. He's getting receiving work. He's efficient with the ball. I just don't like that offense. I don't want to be a part of that offense or that team.
I agree. I've been saying that all year. But again, if you're at that position, like there's not a lot of options out there for you, man. If you've got I was lucky enough that I've been waiting for Kyron Williams to come back on 2 teams. And if he could have came back a week or 2 earlier and did what he did and just started doing this for the rest of the year, I'd be making the playoffs in both. And now I only get to make the playoffs in one, but not everyone's got a Kyron Williams stash that's just coming through like that. That's all done for. You got some Samaje Perine playing against Houston this week. That could be juicy.
It's never going to be no Kyron stats. That's for sure.
No, Perine, yeah, he's one of those to where he doesn't really excite me too much. That's one of those desperate pickups. Like, my God, I need a running back. And then, I mean, if you're looking at tight ends as well, we've already obviously mentioned, the Muth, and he's still available in more leagues than he should be. But also, you look at guys like Aquanco and Tyler Higbee, especially Higbee after his 2 touchdown performance. And I mean, Higbee to me, I feel like that's more of a one-off type thing. It's not like if you take away those touchdowns, I don't really think he had a good game at all. But you love the red zone trust that Matt Stafford has with him. And then Aquanco, we've been mentioning his name a few times this year. Will Levis, Aquanco's, he still hasn't shown it yet, but he has the ability to produce one of those games that, is a solid 12-point game for you.
He also is getting the targets.
Really. It's Will that's holding him back. Like the talent is there for Conco, but Will is just off and on, They're like heavy run game one game and then heavy pass another game, so
They definitely relied on Henry in the red zone this week, and I think that they're afraid to put it in the rookie's hands whenever they have such a sure thing, which makes sense. It's smart. They have Indy this week and Miami and Houston the weeks after. I think that the Chico's got some good matchups coming up in the next couple of weeks, and he's not a great play. He's not going to get you a touchdown, most likely. He doesn't have one all year. But this could be the week, and if you need a tight end so bad, I mean, he's rostered in only 26% of Yahoo leagues, so should be available for you.
He's out there.
He is.
You just have to search and find.
Just like Slender Man. He's out there too.
Oh my
Watch
God.
out, kids. So, for those that haven't been listening, Tulsi Rose Tea is where you get your tea needs. TulsiRoseTea.com. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be bringing you guys another episode later in the week where we give you a little recap or a preview of the Week 13 matchups. So make sure to stay tuned. And until next time.
Toodaloo.
Deuces. Did you guys ever play Slenderman?
Play
That shit's
Slenderman?
scary. Yeah, on your phone.